thing. We were all in uncharted territory. But we saw that the bailouts, they didn't work. Incredible waste of money. I'm not going to tell you I was against the bailouts from the beginning. I wasn't running for office. I don't take credit for stuff I don't do. I'm not going to, and like most of you. But, you know, I knew the stimulus package was a horrible idea. That was a horrible idea. From the beginning, you could see that was a bad idea. The bailout, of course, began under the Bush administration there. And I think that we should not be bailing out corporate giants like that if they're going to collapse. Because we're not bailing out people on Main Street like that. And if they collapse, let them collapse, cut them into pieces, let them be sold off, and let the free market continue. That's what we have to do. And we should not bail out another major financial institution. I would not agree to give money to someone else. It's hard, but that's it. That's it. You know, we have to let the free market, you know, work its way out.
Okay, let's bring it back to the state for a minute. As a senator, what can you do to help lower the cost of living in the state of New York?
First thing, the most important thing we can do is taxes. I can't lower, as a United States Senator, I can't lower your property taxes. It's going to be the state government. You're going to have to fight and help elect Republicans to government and at the county level and all, your state senators. You're going to have to work. We're all going to have to work on that here. As from the federal government, I can reduce taxes for you. I can help get rid of the death tax. I can vote to have zero capital gains. I can bring your federal rate down. I can try to relieve the federal burden on you, reduce regulations, so you're not working 211 days a year just to pay your federal tax bill. That's what it is. You work the first 211 days of the year to pay Uncle Sam. That's what you're all doing, by the way. 211 days. Then you work another 45 days for the state of New York. Not keeping a lot of your money, you know. And so that's what we have to do. It's got to be reducing that and reducing spending. And what someone asked me earlier, I don't know if it was here, you know, it's like, what do I think about the Department of Education? I'd get rid of it. Let the states handle those things. And the federal government can't be bailing states out. It can't be bailing out California. We have to get these states that's got to live within their means. Okay.
Let's talk about Chuck Schumer for a minute. How are you planning to beat Chuck Schumer? What kind of funds do you think it's going to take to beat Chuck Schumer? And what systems do you or can you put in place and working with others to prevent voter fraud and things of that nature? Those are all kind of related.
Yeah, but you know, Senator Schumer is arrogant, incredibly arrogant, and nasty. And nasty. He has a big machine. He has a lot of money, and we know that. And with a lot of money, he'll wage an air campaign on us. We will be insurgents. We will raise a ground force. We will have more ground forces than he has. You can't win a war just with air power. Yeah. On the ground. We're looking at this like a military operation. We're gonna overwhelm them with a ground force. You know, we're gonna have a lot of soldiers on the ground carrying for us. That's the first thing. He has $20 million. I'll only need a quarter of what he has to do what we need to do. We'll be going after him on YouTube. We'll be going after him all sorts of ways on the internet. There's a lot of things that we can do. I'll give you an example. The other day, of course, you know, these rallies, I was down on Long Island with the Tea Party with 912 and CSA, and they said, we're having a rally on the corner of 100, on Route 110 and Jericho Turnpike. I thought, that's an unusual place to have a rally. Was the parking lot there? And I got there, and of course, they had 100 people on one side, 100 people here, and it said 20,000 cars go through this intersection per hour. The busiest intersection on Long Island. Everybody had signs, Gary Berntsen for the Senate. And I was like, yeah, that's 20,000, 40,000 doing that. You know, we'll do irregular things here. We'll use the internet. We'll use people. We're going to use cell phones. We're going to do large numbers, and we may go well past the quarter, because what we're going to do is I will raise money across the country, because because I'm on television all the time, I'm a best-selling author. I've done fundraisers in Texas. I'm doing fundraisers in Florida. I'm doing them in Philadelphia. I'm going to do fundraisers around the country. I'm going to raise money. I'm a member of Combat Veterans for Congress. There's 30 of us who have served in conflict who are all in one pack together, that are cooperating with each other. There's a Captain Joseph Johns out in California who's organizing this. Gary Sinise is helping us. You know, I actually got to go to lunch, but I wasn't excited about Gary Sinise is having lunch with Connie Stevens. She's a great lady. She told me, I'll do commercials for you, Gary. I said, okay. She's great. She's great. She is great. But she works side by side with Gary Sinise in supporting our PAC, the Combat Veterans for Congress PAC. There are conservatives in Hollywood that are helping us, and I went out and met a number of them. Some of them are filmmakers. There are other individuals that are bloggers and that have computer databases that usually charge people to send out, you know, 1 million emails. They're not charging. You know, they'll do stuff. We've got people that can do all sorts of things, you know, that you know, on their own or for us or whatever, that can help us. It'll be unconventional. It'll be unconventional political warfare.
There you go.
All right. I need to add another one to my car.
We'll get you one.
Related to that, I had a question here that have you contacted or do you plan to contact some of the conservative talk shows like Hannity, Limbaugh?
Yeah. I've been on Sean Hannity's television program. You may have seen the big show where he did the 9/11 families in that big circle there, and people were sitting in the middle. I was in the middle with John Lehman, Secretary Lehman, the two of us, for one of those segments. And I've done his show a number of times. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to go out and see and touch and meet as many of the people as I can. I'll be doing those television programs. I've been on Fox, you know, 100 times before. And we'll get out as we go along, but we've got to build the infrastructure of the campaign before we use that. I've also done hundreds of radio shows. Radio's cheap, and it reaches a lot of people. Of course I want to be on Rush Limbaugh's show. Of course I want to do Sean Hannity's show.
Glenn Beck.
Look, I'm a 9/12 person too. You know, Glenn Beck, let me tell you what Glenn Beck needs to do. He needs to make tapes on some of those best shows he had and sell them in packs. You know? I mean, that's really what he's doing. He's kind of like the Thomas Paine of our generation. Because he really is, I have to tell you, when I saw that show on Cloward and Piven, I was like, whoa, that's scary stuff, you know. Very, very interesting. I'm a big Glenn Beck fan. It was funny, I was on Glenn Beck's show years ago when he was on CNN. And he asked me something, and I said, well, the Clintons did this. He goes, well, I don't want you blaming the Clintons. So I got in an argument with him with the Clintons. You know, if he wasn't ever did his show, but I'll go back on it. I respect him, I like him, I think he's really interesting. But that's the only time I did his show, and it was a short exchange we had. But I like Bill O'Reilly, I like Hannity, I like all these folks. Lou Dobbs, I like him a lot. I was sorry to see him leave. I did his show a number of times. In the morning, I do Fox and Friends. For those of you that get up early in the morning, I was on Fox and Friends a lot lately. And American Morning, I've been on their show a lot. John Roberts and Kieran Chester are very nice. She was on Fox and Friends, which she began, and then moved over there. So I know all the sort of the TV people and the producers, and can use that to help the campaign.
Exposure.
Yeah, no, of course, it's exposure.
Okay, Gary, I have a question that has to do with reducing government regulation and waste. You mentioned the education.
One of the things that there's and it's the taxpayers that Grover Norquist's people put together was the number of days that you work for the federal government, which are 211, and every state is different. Alaska is only you work up to July 11th. If you're in New York, you work to September 4th to pay them. New York is the third most expensive state in terms. And then you work for another 28 days for regulations. For regulations, to pay for that. We've got to reduce all of this. We've got to reduce all of this. It's bankrupting us. I mean, if you looked at the regulations, right, the question on the border, I know you've heard this. My favorite book, probably the best book I've read in the last 5 years, is Mark Levine's Liberty and Tyranny. He's a brilliant guy. But I was listening the other day, and they were talking about the fact that at that park, there's this one park on the border down there with Mexico, and it's like 80 miles long, And immigration and border patrol can't go in there because they'll damage the plant life. But meanwhile, there's a super highway of illegal immigrants and narco traffickers coming through there. And so the regulatory, the EPA says that the border patrol can't go in there. It's just sheer stupidity.